Gamers, today we have another cheese guide. This time with English. We've done Abbasid, Japanese, and now we're going to do a little cheese guide with English. Now I do want to say before we get started, our cheese build is a build that is not supposed to work every single game bulletproof, but you can win most of your games still if you execute it well. There is a cheese build with English already where you pull villagers, 5 villagers at the start of the game, and then you like attack their gold and stuff, but I feel like that one is known already and people have been doing it for a long time. So I wanted to give you a new one that is it's not only a cheese build, but it's very easy to execute. Very easy. And I think for that reason, I think people are going to love it. This build is the bane of Gold League and Platinum League. You're going to mass men-at-arms very quickly. And it's a bit of a weird one, but let me guide you through it. So we're going to put, as we start, we're going to put 4 on wood and 2 on food. We're going to make a mill and 2 farms. Now, I'm going to show you the game against AI for the build order, and then in a second game, I'm going to show you a real game against a real player, Conqueror 3, okay? Now, and I'm also explain which civs it can work against, which civ it's not good against, and so on. So these guys are going to be 4 on wood, and they're going to go on this wood and this one, and every next villager that comes out, you're going to build a farm until you have 8 farms, okay? So every villager is rallied here. Boom, you just plant a little farm. And you're going to do that until you have 8 farms. So why am I doing this? Why am I opening farms this early? A lot of people struggle with, like, their food running out. So what this build does is you delay your age up slightly, but you're going to have infinite amount of food, basically, as English. And you'll see in a little bit what I mean by that. So these farms, not only going to be really good as you're aging up through the ages, your food is set up, but you're going to have safe food and you're not going to run out of food anytime soon. So it kind of focuses on building up your eco and then just massing units. So we're going to have the 8th farm. And once we do that, we want 50 wood, sorry. So we can make a mining camp, and we're going to make it with these 4 villagers that just chopped wood. Now we rally onto the food here. So very simple build order. Very, very simple build order. It's not hard to follow. Pretty straightforward. We're scouting with the scout, checking for more sheep. And then, once we're close to aging up, we're just going to age up with Abbey of Kings. Now, why Abbey of Kings? Well, we're not going to be making any longbows, at least not anytime soon. So, Abbey of Kings is going to be good because it can heal the men-at-arms that are weak. It can heal the men-at-arms with the king when they're low HP. But also, by the time you set up your men-at-arms, you can go harass with the king and maybe even force spearmen. If you force spearmen out of your opponent with the king, then the men-at-arms are going to be even better, okay? And they can't be too greedy because there's a king. Once we start aging up, we're going to take all the workers from the food, finish chopping down this tree, and then make a lumber camp and rally workers onto the wood, okay? So, there's some things in this one that I've done wrong, but I'll tell you which things to not do, basically. So we're going to rally until we have 8 on wood. So we're not going to do 10. We're going to do 8 on wood. So why are we doing 8? We want to leave 8 on wood for a long, long time. So right now, once you have 8, you want to rally 2 more onto the gold to have 6 on gold. So your split should be 8, 8, 6. Now this might be a bit of a weird one to have that much on gold, that many workers on gold with English. The reason you're going to do that is you're going to produce men-at-arms and you're going to get upgrades. You need to get double broadaxe, wheelbarrow, horticulture, mining upgrade, and blacksmith upgrades. So they're going to come in slowly, but just trust. So once you get 8, 2 more on gold, and then rally on food for a very, very long time. Now, why are we doing 8? Is because we want to produce barracks, we want to produce houses, we want to use wood for the upgrades, and we want to get blacksmith eventually, and potentially more farms. Now, this game I did 10, but 8 is fine, and I'll tell you why in a second. So you can see I went for 10, but don't do 10, do 8, it's better. So I'm producing a barracks with 1 villager, and I'm instantly going to produce men-at-arms, okay? another barracks. Now, in this game, I went for triple barracks. That's why I put 10 on wood, but you're only going to do 2. So you're going to put 8 on wood and only make 2 barracks. Because English produces man-at-arms very quickly, 15 seconds. So you're just going to use 2 barracks and crank out units from it, while having 6 on gold for your upgrades. You're going to build houses. The upgrades that you're going to get, preferably you want to get something like horticulture first, or wheelbarrow. So you can see I'm getting horticulture because you're going to have the most workers on food. So getting horticulture is going to give you the most value, especially because of the farms. Then you can get wheelbarrow, double broadaxe, and then specialized pick in that order, and then you get blacksmith upgrades. So, if at any point in this build you feel like you have too much of one resource, like you have too much food but you don't have enough gold, then just put 1 or 2 more workers on gold. Don't be scared to kind of balance out your eco. So this barracks right here should not be another barracks. What you should be doing right now is, instead of this barracks, you should plop down a mill and make 8 farms with the workers that are on the food. So either when they come out, you just make a farm, or you can just rally them onto sheep and eventually just throw down 8 farms and that's it. Once you do that, you're gonna get blacksmith right after. Okay? So we're still chopping wood, we're getting more barracks, and yeah, so instead of this barracks, I should have added these farms first and stayed on 2 barracks, and then dropped the blacksmith after for the ranged armor upgrade and the melee attack. The reason you don't want blacksmith faster is because you're still using your gold on men-at-arms, and you're still using your gold on the eco upgrade, so you don't quite have it yet. Now again, one of the best things about this build is, because you're not making longbows, you have a lot of wood to play with, so you can actually go super early farms and you get way more food. So if you look here, I have 17 sheep and I think 2 are eaten, so I collected like 14 sheep total. But these sheep can last you like all the way to imp, because your economy is so strong already with all the farms, right? Now, as you can see, I'm getting more and more upgrades, and soon the replay will end, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in the game when you're actually attacking in a real game. So I'm getting blacksmith, and again, that's for the +1 ranged armor, and that's for +1 melee attack. Now, if you look at the state of this game, we are at 940. Let's go 945. Okay, at 945, I have 16 farms. I have horticulture, double broadaxe, wheelbarrow, specialized pick, blacksmith, and I have 19 men-at-arms and a king. Like, that's a big army already, right? So, the idea is to print men-at-arms, try to do damage wherever you can, and then once the +1 ranged armor finishes, then you can dive the TC, or you can dive towers, or do whatever else. If the opponent is trying to like rush castle, like has a tower here, with this amount of units you can just right click the tower and kill it. You don't even need +1 ranged armor. But if you want to dive the town center, you're gonna need +1 ranged armor so that your units don't die. From this point on, you can see we have 22 on food, 6 on gold. So what I can do now is I can rally some more workers onto gold, because the food economy is, you can see, 900 food per minute is very high for this point in the game. Okay. Now, let me show you what that looks like in the game. Mind you, in the game that I've actually played, I did not do this exact build, but I've gotten to the same point in the game that I was supposed to. So don't pay attention to the build that I did in this game. I played against Casper. Shout out Casper for helping me. He didn't know what I was gonna do. So don't pay attention to the build in this game. Don't pay attention to his build in the game. Pay attention to how I'm using my units and how I'm attacking and what I'm doing on the other side. Now this game, he went for a triple town center, which well, it did not work out. But even if he went double TC, I think it would not have worked out. So again, we're not going to pay attention to my build. We're just going to look here. I don't want to confuse you guys. The idea behind Men-at-Arms is most of the civs and most players don't know how to deal with Men-at-Arms in Feudal Age. So if you just mass Men-at-Arms, they require no micring, and you can just cause a lot of idle time. And the best part about the English build that I'm showing you is once you get your farm set up, you're just constantly producing Men-at-Arms, right? You're not going to run out of food. You're not going to run out of units. They're just constantly going. It's like Burger from HRE, just constantly going. And if you manage to cause idle time on your opponent's town center, then you're just going to win with overwhelming them with units, even if you're trading inefficiently, right? So he's going to go 2 TC, or 3 TC actually. Now the king is already coming, so that's pretty nice. And now the Men-at-Arms are in production. So I think this game I did the build more inefficiently than the last game, because the one that I just showed you earlier. Because the one that I showed you earlier, I played like 3-4 times to make sure I got the build right. So you can see right now, I'm just harassing the outside food sources. Like I'm not gonna dive TC yet. I'm just getting my eco upgrade still, so I'm just chilling. +1 range armor is coming. He's trying to get gold here. I scout it, right? Because he's gonna need gold. I scout it, and like I said, if there's a tower, you can just dive it. I have +1 range armor finishing. You can just move away like this and let your king heal up the Men-at-Arm and himself. And because this got harassed, he cannot complete that, so he loses a couple of villagers. Now, you can see 15 Men-at-Arms. So at 9:45 earlier, we had 19 or 20 Men-at-Arms, now I have 16. So again, a bit more inefficient, but it's alright. So now that I have +1 range armor, I can start diving. Now, if he didn't go for this TC, he would have had 3-4 camels extra, let's say. So does that mean that he would have been 100% fine? No, because you'll see I'm causing idle time. So his response here is correct to go camel archers, because they do decent amount of damage and they can just kite. So watch this. I go here. Oh, actually, I just dived through. I didn't even see these units skip W. So I just dived through. So I want you to pay attention how inefficiently I'm trading, right? I'm not trading well. Look, I already lost, I think, 1 or 2 Men-at-Arms. I think I lost 1, actually. But now his whole eco is idle. Everything is just going idle. The TCs are full, the Men-at-Arms are killing, the villagers are running around, and even though he's got more villagers because of the triple town center, look how much he's losing, right? And I haven't killed a single camel archer. I clear up the wood line, and if you look at his income, he has these guys gathering, but because I didn't see them, but his whole eco is idling right now. So the strength is, if you just keep rallying at this point, even if you're trading 1 Men-at-Arm or for 1 villager, you're still winning the game because he is not gathering, so he can't actually produce. So more idle time, and whenever you see a lot of units coming, you can just try to run away. Now, what do you do behind this? Because obviously, the more camel archer he has, you know, eventually this kind of thing is not going to work. So what I did in this specific case, I went for triple stable, and I went stable so I can make horsemen to kill camel archers. You could have also gone longbows if that's what you're more comfortable with, but horsemen make more sense because you have so much food income, right? So it makes more sense to go for horsemen. So he's chasing these down, he kills them. There's a little Men-at-Arm over here. I'm gathering up units, and he is just completely stuck in his base trying to defend this. So I killed 17 workers total, and he's probably feeling pretty good. Like, oh, he just defended, you know, he's chilling. But behind this, there are horsemen coming, and again, I'm just printing units non-stop. Non-stop units coming. And again, this will never run out. Like, I will never run out of food with these farms. So I can go all the way to Imperial with this setup after. So I go in again, and if you notice your opponent is like on these berries or on this deer, just send 1 or 2, 3 men-at-arms to harass, and you can send everything. And I'm just diving in once again. Under TCs, look at that. Doesn't matter. We kill some more workers, now there's horsemen, so now he's gonna basically block with the workers. He had 28 workers here. So again, he's killing all my units, right? But if you look at the villager count, I'm catching up, and I'm on 1 town center. So he lost 6 villagers there, and all the villagers are idle. Idle TC, idle TC. There's no villagers in here. So he loses 1 or 2 camel archers, he loses some workers, and now it's 27 worker kills. And if you look at destruction value, he killed 4,470, and I killed 2,100. But again, it doesn't matter, because my income is just better. I mean, look at this. 1.4k food, 14 minutes into the game. With all the farms ready, with 24 farms. And I can make more farms, look at that. Boom. With all these workers on wood, by the way, every time you have wood, just make more farms. So, what I can do here as well, by the way, is I can just put more workers on gold and age up here. But I decided to just keep making units and commit, just so I can show you guys what that looks like. And again, now he's trying to push out, so he doesn't wait in his base and cause idle time, which is a good decision from him. But because I have so many units, I can just chase him with horsemen like this, and I can just, once again, send men-at-arms in his base. Look at that. It's just non-stop on the way. So the camel archers, he's micring them. But again, I just run in. Even though I am not trading efficiently, look at this. Double the value killed for him. Look, more idle time, more villagers dying. Farms are idle. Deer are idle. And if this looks like really hard to do, like from my point of view, because there's men-at-arms everywhere, a lot of these I didn't micro at all. Like I put some units there, I put some units here, and then I just rally here. So I'm not really microing these men-at-arms or doing too much. It's actually a lot harder for the enemy to deal with this. Mind you, he was... I mean, he has no food now. But he was producing the villagers the whole time. He was microing his camel archers. I think Casper is 1.7k Conqueror 3. So he was doing all that. But if you're lower league, your opponent will probably like... just be like, oh shit, there's men-at-arms in my base. And then not produce and not do anything. And you're kind of just chilling. So we send some men-at-arms in the gold. Again, these guys are just running around. See that? Like, I'm not even targeting the villagers. They're just like, whatever. Because even if he's doing this, he has to focus here to micro. And I don't. I'm just sending stuff around. So, if I wanted to age up, I could stop making units for like 40, 50 seconds, and I can hit castle, and then I can upgrade men-at-arms and make knights or make horsemen upgraded or whatever. But eventually, 42 workers killed. Eventually, he does tap out. So, this is kind of like, in my opinion, it's a bit, it's cheesy, but it's not, right? It's cheesy because it relies heavily on men-at-arms, and it relies on, you know, kind of bamboozling your opponent getting flustered and stuff like that. But I think it's actually a pretty decent build, and it's something that I wanted to use in tournaments, but eventually I decided against it, and, you know, now there's a pro scout meta and everything, so yeah. So, let's talk about which civs it works against, which civs it works a little bit less against. So, number one thing, if you're playing against 2 town center civs, this is probably your best matchup. Doesn't matter what civ it is. If they're going for 2 town centers, you diving TC with men-at-arms, they will eventually run out of food pretty quickly. Next thing is against civilizations that want to fight you in feudal. So civs like Delhi, civs like Ayubid sometimes wants to fight in feudal, Ottoman, Mongol. This probably works the second best because you're just going to be massing units. He's going to be massing units, but he doesn't have any place to harass you because all your farms and food is under TC. Meanwhile, eventually he's going to run out of food. He has to run across the map and so on and so forth to gather that. Now, the reason why, by the way, this is good with English is because you produce men-at-arms 50% faster than any other civ, which is pretty nice bonus to have, obviously, and the farms being cheaper and higher gather rate. Let's talk about Castle Rush civs. I think you should have no issues against Castle Rush civs. You can just dive the towers with like already 10 men-at-arm. Even if you lose 1 or 2 men-at-arm, it's not a biggest deal. So you don't need to be scared like, oh, there's a tower, I need to make a ram or something. You can just go for it, and that's one difference than if you're making spearmen, because spearmen dive very fast to towers, men-at-arms do not. So you should be fine against castle civs, and also even if they do age up to castle and make units, you will have a lot better eco, so you will kind of be able to overwhelm them with that, or even dive TC as they're like aging up. Now, the knight civs. The knight civs are a bit of a weird one, because it is like not a counter, but it is a good thing to have against this. But if you're playing against knight civs, what you need to do is everything I just showed you, except don't open with men-at-arms, okay? Just open with spearmen. You're gonna have batshit crazy amount of spearmen super fast. You're gonna also have the king to potentially chase down the knights. So you're just gonna open with a lot of spearmen, and if they start transitioning to men-at-arms, you can either make stables to kill the archers, and then you go spearmen, horsemen, or you can add more barracks and then produce spearmen, men-at-arm. So if your opponent wants to fight you, they're gonna need to target fire the spearmen and micro way better than you need to, and you can idle their gold, you can idle their economy, and so on and so forth. So for example, if you played against French, and you open up with spearmen instead of men-at-arm, once you have like 5-6, you can already go to his gold, and if you deny the gold production, like for a while, you can actually go back to men-at-arm production, because then he will only have archers, and you should be in a good spot. Obviously, every civ has some kind of way with dealing with this. Like Malian has Musafati warriors, which is like the counter. Malian is probably the biggest counter to this. But again, what you can do against Malian is you can open some men-at-arms, and once they go mass Musafati, you can just switch to mass spearmen horsemen or mass spearmen longbow or something like that. Obviously, if you're switching to longbows, you're gonna need to put a lot more workers on wood, so have that in mind, okay? But that's it. Like I said, I have done this build not only now, but I've done this build a few months ago, and I played it. I don't know if I even did it on stream or off stream, but I won quite a few games. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's like for competitive play necessarily, but I was beating like high rank Conqueror 3 players. So it's it's cheesy in the way you're attacking, I guess, and the way you set up your eco, but in a way it's kind of like a standard-ish build. And obviously, the more your opponent knows how to deal with it, it's going to be less powerful. But I think that, especially like diamond and under, even if the opponent knows it's coming, they're going to have a pretty hard time dealing with it. That's going to be it. If you're watching on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you get out there and beat some noobs with this build. If you're watching on Twitch, let's keep going.